Hello, welcome back. I'm Amitai, and you are at my regularly scheduled stream. You will see that today we are doing some package source. There's a few things I'm still behind on from you saw in the last stream if you were here, and you can see some of it on the screen now. What we're looking at on the left side is repology, which is a pretty handy tool for a package management kind of a person, or sometimes a package user, or sometimes a software author who wants to see which distributions are way behind in their packaging. I usually am coming at it from the point of view of a package maintainer. I maintain over 150 packages in package source, and one of the ways that I make sure to stay up to date with new upstream versions of software is repology, which has various views, such as this one. The search that we're looking at now is projects where I'm the maintainer. This is my maintainer email address. I guess we could specify where, but it's always package source. And then the category of matches I'm looking for are outdated. And the way Repology knows that is that Repology has lots of different package systems in it. And if some other package system updates something, that is a pretty strong indicator, although not foolproof, that a newer version exists. And so really this is a comparison against other package managers, not against upstream proper in most cases. So last time we were here, this list was, I think, a bit longer, and I want to continue working it down. There is something else I may need to do en route to that, which is that, actually I'm on the wrong machine here. Let's go over to BuiltBox. So this is the machine where I have most of my virtual machines. It's a Mac Mini running macOS as a host, and the guests are, at least on this machine, AMD 64 or x86 64 virtual machines. I guess we could just show those. That's mostly, yeah, that still shows ARM 64. But you get the idea. This one hosts all the same architecture Intel virtual machines, and then my faster computer, which is a Mac M1 laptop, hosts ARM natively and other architectures in the fastest emulation that I have. So this is a good machine, though, because it has a much wider variety of operating systems to test tricky updates to packages. Because I have my because I have my package source tree in one place on the host, the macOS host, and then I NFS export it to all of the guests. And so I can work on one set of changes and test them on as many of these AMD 64 types of machines that I want to. And that includes a variety of Linuxes, a variety of BSDs. Solaris is one of them. Although I don't see, yeah, I grepped it out by mistake. But Solaris is in there, and then a more recent entry from that family tree, Triblix, which is from the Illumos fork of the Solaris tree. And so this gives me a pretty good variety of operating system differences, and then when I really care about architecture differences, which is much less often, then I can go for things like all the different NetBSD 9s, for example, AMD 64, ARM 64, but also ARM v7, HIPAA, 32-bit Intel, Mac PPC. The next version of QEMU, I'll be able to stand up NetBSD Mac 68K, which gives me warm fuzzies, because that's the hardware platform that I actually learned Unix on. Mac 2CI running NetBSD 1.1, and then I think it was a Quadra 650 running a slightly newer version. So when architecture differences, hardware architecture differences, are at the forefront, then that's a handy way to do it. But usually it's operating system differences that I have to check for, and for that, the Intel with a variety of operating systems is a handy machine. So I happen to know, from having started to work on it, first of all, some of these updates are not real. So for example, discount, I mentioned on the previous stream, it looks like somebody has a newer version package, but if you go to the upstream webpage, this is not the latest stable version. This is the latest development version. The latest stable version is still this. And so there is a sense in which that's newer, yes, but it's not a sense in which any package manager would want to stably update to that. And so this, for me right now, is not a to-do item, even though it's in the list. This one is a to-do item. I did it yesterday, so sometime soon, however often Repology updates this report, it will drop out of the list. And other things have already dropped out of the list since the last stream that I had already done. The one that there's a couple that I'm in the middle of right now. One is right here, S6 networking. So this is a very important piece of software for not Qmail, even though I'm not taking advantage of it fully myself yet. And it's had a major update. And I always want to keep that up to date in package source, but have not done so yet. The reason there, I have it all staged on my laptop, and I don't expect any platform-specific problems. Everything built the way it was supposed to on the machine where I tested it. What I'm waiting for is that the manual pages that go along with this piece of software, and with higher up in the same stack, are not maintained by the software's upstream author himself. They're maintained by a very good contributor to that author's project. And so the manual pages aren't quite ready for most of those updates. It would not be the end of the world to commit all those package updates, including this one that you can see here, with older manual pages, and then bump the package revision when the new manual pages come out, presumably in the next few days. But it's also not all that urgent to get the versions committed to package source yet. So I have the updates staged, but I'm trying to wait, depends on my patience, for those new manual pages. I would prefer to get them in with the update rather than as a separate small sub-update. So this update is real and it is staged, and I am nearly ready to commit it. Nothing interesting going on there. The Python approval tests is going to be a bit of a project to get that updated. Not super looking forward to it, but we'll have to do it. And probably not on this stream, but maybe on a different one. And then the one that I'm wrestling with today is libowfat, which is also not exactly in the not Qmail code path, but very adjacent to it. One of the main not Qmail developers has his own SMTP engine, both a client and a server that you can plug in to not Qmail or any other Qmail. And it uses libowfat, which is an independent re-implementation of the Qmail author's C libraries, and then some extensions. And so they're in package source. There is a new version. It's a real update. And I ran into some trouble with it. So I prepared a little bit before the session with, let me pop over to that window where I was working on it. So here we are in package source devel libowfat. If that name looks kind of weird, it's because when you link with a library called lib whatever with a C compiler and the usual linker that goes with that, then the way you link with it is that you put a -L in front of that and take off the lib. So if the name of the library is libowfat and you link with it, it looks like that. And so the name of this package is optimized for what it looks like on linker command lines. And it's far from the first library that has made this choice. So if you've seen this kind of pattern before, then the naming isn't so surprising to you. Um, Now then, what I was collecting here was what it's like before we do the update. How well is this building across the platforms that I have available to me? At least some representative ones. And because I noticed with the update that, I was just kind of naively trying to do it on my Mac laptop and noticing that stuff wasn't compiling. And then I wanted to know, before I get too far into this, it seems like this is going to be operating system platform finicky, this update. So I should get a better idea what the current state is before I proceed to update it. So what I have figured out so far is that with the old version 0.3.2 as it stands, builds on Mac, builds on FreeBSD, OpenBSD, and Rocky Linux 8. Did not have luck on Debian 12 or the Dev1 equivalent, on Rocky Linux 9 or on Triblix. I didn't write down the build errors. I would like the update not to be worse, really, is all I'm worried about. And then later I can worry about, with the help of other package developers, improving the situation. And then I'm interested to see what happens on these remaining few Linuxes, because they're a little bit different. So let's pop out of here. I'll come back for the FreeBSD one when I need to. And likewise, so I'm using my homegrown package build command that abstracts differences between how different platforms do different things, such as shutdown. And that way I don't have to remember how to run shutdown commands, especially on Solaris, which is basically impossible for a human person to do. What's happening here? What's happening here? This must be a Solaris 11 here. Strange. So there is a QEMU process for that. Might have to just interrupt it, which I think is like this. Yeah. Now that should come back empty. Too bad. Okay, Solaris wasn't running particularly well. We'll try that again in a moment. We wanted to try Ubuntu and Void. I guess I want to try both 20 and 22 if I have them. Not sure if I do. Okay. So this screen here is the serial console. And once that's up, I like to get via SSH instead. There we go. And probably overdue for some updates, but first I want to go to here. Most of my shells I can just do this, but some of the VMs are not quite there. Okay, so let's see how we do with the make package clean on. Whoop. Been a while since I was in this one, huh? No package admin? Okay. Yes, okay, so I'm a little behind on my build VM config in this one. These machines are not, the virtual machines are not generated with any kind of an image generator. They're kind of hand installed because I'm still optimizing, documenting, and optimizing the manual steps from an installed system to something that has package source bootstrapped in a consistent way. And that's probably a good idea when I get that a little more organized, is to then automate generating virtual machines with the stuff that I want on them. But for now, what I need to do is package builders, Etsy, package build shared into here. Yeah. And then that's the file I need to include from here. So that got renamed at some point by me, and I obviously haven't been here since. So now, when I go to here and say make clean, yeah. Now I can try building. Okay, so that's a data point to 20. Two. So again, we're trying to get the picture because this seems to have a bunch of platform specific build problems already. And I noticed some when I took a quick stab at the update. I want to record the current situation before I try and do the update. Aru. So something that sometimes happens on a QEMU update is that networking will have gotten changed. Let's go in and take a look. Yep. Oof. So I'm looking for where the networking configuration is on this platform, since I don't typically remember. I suppose it could be this. That seems pretty old. How about where the word DHCP occurs somewhere? That in here? systemd networkd.com. So again, the Ethernet device currently in this virtual machine is called ENP0S1. Ethernet configuration. Sure. Net plan. Okay. We're on the right track here. Net plan. I do not know this one. Don't want to set static, and I don't want to do a GUI. Okay, so maybe the thing really is that. And then make sure I didn't screw something up because the terminal is weird. Okay, and then net plan apply. That's better. Okay, let's give that a reboot. Now I can probably SSH in. Good. That's what we wanted to do. And now is gonna get me there. Yeah. And what's this look like? Oh, that's outdated. Been a while. I redid how my stuff works here. So let's go into here. Oh, wow. Okay. Now in my bin directory, I have a CVS that wraps that, a package build that redirects to that, and a make. Okay. So now, if I go into devel-libowfat, I guess I should also suspect this. Yeah, this has the old information too. And then that's the name of the file. Good. Let's see how the build goes on Ubuntu 22. Okay, we got problems. That is fine. That's what I wanted to know. This looks, I think, roughly like what the Debian problems looked like, which makes sense because this is a Debian derivative. So I don't actually care about this right now. I just want to know how bad it has been and try to have the update be not worse in terms of platform support. So 2 and void Linux should be an interesting test case. In general, I try to have these start with no startup screen, but again, that's relatively new. That'll be part of baking these images when I bake them a little better. Are we online? Yeah. Okay. Will it blend? This is an interesting case because the default libc, I think, in void is not the GNU libc. Yeah, that's right. It's the muscle libc. So that's a useful difference. So void is good. And I guess knowing everything else, I don't like Solaris 11 is more trouble than it's worth. That's the kind of thing that if something breaks, then whoever cares the most may fix it. But this is what I wanted to know. So now I have completed the um, the before picture. Now we can try the update and see if it's as good. And the way we try an update, first of all, let's go over to devel-libowfat. Here I am on the host, the Mac system. If I do a little quick CVS update, because yes, this is CVS, then I should be able to see what's different. And it is merely these comments, which is fine with me. So then the next step in proceeding through an update is we know the newest version. I guess we could check that, make sure there isn't something newer. Yes, this is the newest. So reset package revision, because we're going to do an update. Let's say make some, which will fetch it and checksum it. And now when we do a CVS diff, we will see more changes. So we see what I did to the make file, and we also see that dist info is now talking about a new version. Next thing to do is see what happens with the make patch, if the patches still apply. Not all of them, by a long stretch. So this will be fun. There are some local patches here. So we'll change into the working directory and find all the things that did not apply, which are handily left behind with this file name pattern. And from here, we can work our way through and see if they still apply or what. So this was in mmap read at.c min-gw32 is no longer defined here or checked for here. It looks like it turned into more Windows aware than it was before. We still have this include sys stat. So I suppose that our change applies however equally well it did before. I will manually make it so. So there's one. Next, we are looking at, to be thorough, I should do this with package vi in case there wasn't an orig file. io send file.c. And we're supposedly looking around line 53 in the old version. Doesn't have a function name. This does look pretty similar. So there's an io send file that calls sendfile64 with an iArray underscore get. We don't seem to be calling that anymore, whatever that is. Here's one. So this is the only place we have an iArray get, and it looks already, this looks like a refactoring happened here. And it looks like the correction has already been applied. So nothing to do here. Here we are in iom, oops, init.c. And after sys time, these includes are already present. So this is basically upstreamed, this change. Next, wait, let's see. And this is around line 65 in theory. Checking for half KQ. This looks like that same code, so moved around a bit. That's the only occurrence of it, so it really does look like this code. Slots, time spec. See, context 00 should not be dereferencing or taking a reference to. Should just be the array of struct k events. Okay, so that already effectively happened. And then somewhere here we do a convert events. We have this in two places. This is a different one. This is the one. And in the patch, we are initializing I here. But it looks like we already did. 911. So I'm not sure why. It's the same I. And then it looks like this change was already made. So this was also upstream. And I think that's it for this patch. So on to the next one. Here we are in the glamorous world of package updates. It's good. A lot of these patches have been either handled differently upstream or just merged upstream, which means we will carry fewer of them around when this is all done. What's this one? This is socket quick ack. So it looks like we're defining a compatibility define. And then how's this supposed to go? In the old version, we make sure that there is something called sol TCP. And then we use them in set sock opt. Yeah. And then we lost the TCP quick ack, which is surprising, but okay. So I think what needs to happen here is that it should look more like this. Yeah, we just lost this part. Okay, I got it. So this part is the second half. It should say if define both of these, then use them. Otherwise, don't. And then the first part should happen here. That looks like I brought it over correctly, I think. And that's it. So now it should be the case if we pop back up out and run mk patches, then our patches directory should look very interesting. Remove all the orig ones. And then we should have some that don't do anything anymore, like IOM init, IOM wait. They said they don't differ. Indeed not. So both of those should stop being here. Let's look through what's left. A lot of avoid conflict with man pages. Okay, now we regenerate patch checksums and do a CVS up to show our status here. And those two are staged for deletion when this is committed. Some other patches have changed a bit. And I'm interested in this one. CVS diff patches patch. Hey, this one. Not sure why my shell completion is stymieing me. Yeah, so this we managed to preserve that patch is what that looks like to me. Okay. So having updated the existing patches and removing a couple, now we should be able to say make patch, and because we updated the checksums, everything that's there should apply. And it does. Which leaves us ready to try doing a build. Before we do that, I always like to prepare a commit message. Like this is the thing. Yeah. And the format would be something like libowfat, update to that, changes, and then I would format them something like so, and then watch out for long lines, such as this one, or this one. Okay. So then when the time comes, I have a commit message ready to go there. Let's go for build. Looks not obviously great. Something I like to do when builds are not succeeding is to go for non-parallel builds. And just throw that in here for now. Let's try that again. Building only sequentially. That way, if there are problems of parallelism in the build, we will know that. And if the problem is repeatable, then we will, we got different errors. So we might have a problem of parallelism in this build. We'll have to come back for that. Right now we have a problem that is different. Sock non-block versus socket non-block. So nothing declares sock non-block. Maybe it's a missing include. I definitely don't recognize this. I don't know it. Looks like something for non-blocking sockets, if I had to guess. That. Yep. Okay. So how is this supposed to be done? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Instead of setting the flag at the time of calling socket pair, in this example, they leave the flag off, and then I guess this immediately after creating the socket pair, but before using it, they set non-blocking on it, whatever that means. So I might need to get this source tree to see what that means. This is OpenSMTPD. That's cool. So let's see. This is probably contained within an if-def block in the definition of this function. Not at all. IOEV. Here we go. Huh. Okay. Well, that's simpler. I guess sock non-block is an incompletely portable flag, and you can just do it on your sockets file descriptor after the fact with this recurrental, and then logical ORing, bitwise ORing with O non-block. And yeah, okay. Is this available in Git somewhere? Would be nice. CVS. CVS. Okay. Libowfat. So times like these, I'm glad that I'm familiar with CVS and that I have a tool already handy that will put together some change sets. Yeah. So the last release was 2022. There's a bunch of change sets since then. Let's take a look. 2022, 11, 16. So yeah, there you go. This is when there was a release. Maybe this one. And then since then, many changes. 981 through 997. So I wonder if there's anything I can take that deals with this. Problem happened in socket accept flags. So let's look for a socket. Well, not exactly, but let's see what that was. No, that does not help me at all. Why is that? No. Okay. And that's it for socket. Another, yeah. So this doesn't look like he has addressed this at all. Okay, so there's no free take this patch from upstream and apply it. That's too bad. So in that case, I need to look at it. Except 4 flags. Hmm. Where are we supposed to have gotten this sock non-block from? Changes. Yeah. In an earlier version, this happened. Zero point 3.0. Then why didn't we have this problem in an earlier version? That's strange. Suppose I could diff the code from 0.32 to 0.33 because we don't have this build problem on 0.32 on this platform. So maybe that's a next step. There we go. So let's compare how sock non-block was used one release ago versus now. That's a whole lot of add. And that's it. So maybe this is just missing an if-def. Because again, yeah, we're checking for a definedness of that. We're checking for a definedness of that. So we just need an if-def around that. I think that's all. Okay. Then I shall. So where was our build error? Socket except for a flag. Block. Yeah. Same thing here, I guess. Have that in another file also. But okay. Guess that's it. And now we should have the same thing. Huh? Socket. Socket except for a flag. Is there another occurrence of this? No. So why are we getting the same? This file generated? Let's see if we're getting here. Okay, something weird is going on. Are these files getting copied to a build area or something? Very confused. There's that patch. Start from scratch with that applied. Okay. I guess so. Not sure why that didn't work before and did work now, but fine. Now we gotta do the same thing for socket except 6 flags. If this is the local style, sock not block, and if def sock close exec, and if, and then put this back. So we got all the way through the build on macOS. Let's install everything. And there's new stuff. Let's just assume that's all right. The changes. A bunch of manual pages. And a couple includes. Okay. So given the right patches, we don't use socket flags. They're not available. That's about it. Okay. Yes, I want to stage those for add. Getting there. Done with that. Okay, we had a problem with the parallel build. Let's just make sure this deterministically works as is on this platform. All right. That seems pretty good. Now let's see what's going on in parallel, which is what we want to be able to support. Same build, now using as many parallel make processes as we can. So there's a missing dependency, at least one, in byte.h on libowfat compiler.h. A lot of things include that. Okay. Hmm? Yeah, so how's that supposed to happen? So it's part of includes. That means headers have to get made. Okay. And if that's done, is everything else fine? So something is missing a dependency on headers. Maybe a lot of things are. We're doing a make all, presumably. Yeah. Just gonna do headers, ent. What's ent? Okay. It's gonna do libs. All of those, including byte.a. Is there a target for that? Huh? It's on byte obs. Yeah, and all of these .a's depend on headers being there already. What's the easiest way to get this expressed? This works sequentially because the headers get made first and then ENT gets made. And then yada yada yada. So what about make this a little more explicit? Important stuff depends on before all. Yeah, I think I got it. We're gonna have a pre-build target. That does There. Now that's sequential. I think. Oops. Yeah, I need to CD into there. I want to look for how make is usually done for packages. Here we go. Yeah. MK build, okay. Does this. Build target can be a list. Anyway, yeah, I want to yank this. Make a pre-build. What happened there? Yeah, it's just like this. Okay. Does that do it? Seems good. Okay, so then work around missing dependency. So parallel builds. Okay, yeah, that's good. Let's try this on some other platforms, right? That's where we started this game. macOS seems to work as well now as it did before. So package VM. Go, go, go. So this is using the same source tree conveniently. FreeBSD remains fine. So if we can have a comparable list of platforms where we build, then this update is complete. And if not, figure it out before we commit. Okay, OpenBSD is fine. Rocky 8 is next. It's always fun to watch compiles that succeed. Yep. Ubuntu 20. Okay. So if it builds on void, then this is as good as it was before. And the problems that it has can be fixed after it's committed, because I haven't made things worse. Very well. Success. So I haven't tried to see whether this does build on platforms that it didn't build on before. I don't feel like that's a necessary requirement. It's just, if it did, that's great. But what we have solved here is the parallel build problem and the macOS build problem, and we have not created any new build problems from the platforms that we tried, which includes these BSDs. Now, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, now that we're near the end of the stream, I mentioned that there might be something I need to do before because it's foundational, and it's this NFS share. The problem is that since the most recent major update to macOS, to Sonoma, the macOS NFS service has stopped interoperating very well with the NetBSD client that I have. And I think at this point I need to send a problem report to the NetBSD project because it happens both on NetBSD 9 AMD64 and NetBSD 10 beta ARM64. That pretty quickly after trying to do some operations in a directory, something becomes invalid about that file handle, and we can't do anything there anymore. So I think I need to file a PR for that so that it's easy to test on NetBSD as well, because right now it is the only NFS client I noticed that broke. And this also, I need this for my own purposes because my server is NetBSD and that virtual machine is how I do update builds for my own packages that I use, which I haven't been able to do for a little while. So I think after the stream is over, I'll probably file that PR. For now, let us finish what we started, which was committing this update. So at this point, let's check what we have staged. We have some patches removed, we have some patches updated. Package lint says everything is okay except for the file that I created. If we diff, for example, the make file, that's what we expected. And if we look at the commit message that I'm going to use, that's it. So I think that it's time to commit. And for that, I use a little program called package source commit CVS, which commits using that file as the commit message, removes it, and then makes a changes entry. Not much to it, but automated. And that will knock one off my list by the next time we look at this page together. The other thing I like to do, having done that update, shouldn't have anything left in our output, yep, is to pop back into here. Yeah, I had a bunch of stage changes here, so let's stop doing that. Get back to clean git, and then update from upstream. And better, okay. Now I should be able to say I have a local git repo. Where I keep a copy of this package. Sometimes it's helpful to make changes in a local git and stage them on a bunch of different platforms. In this case, this sufficed. Okay, so I have completed the libowfat update. As I mentioned before, this change is staged and pretty ready to go. This change has happened. This is a spurious update. This still needs to happen, but another option is that I relinquish maintainer for that. I'm not sure if anybody ever used that I made it for them. And then that really leaves the Python approval tests update that I really need to get back to. I mentioned it a few months ago in the stream. So I really need to get back to having that updated. Even though it was a challenging update, we're going to have to get past that. So for today, to conclude, we have updated libowfat in package source. We tested it on a bunch of platforms beforehand because it seemed like it was going to have platform-specific trouble on the update. It may be that it was only macOS that had the trouble. I didn't really find out what else doesn't define those symbols. But in the end, we were able to be pretty sure that it works at least as well as it did before. And whatever platforms are still broken, we can work on together in the context of package source rather than trying to get it right before we commit, because we didn't make it any worse. So we can make it better together. And that'll do it for today's stream. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.